Have you ever been stuck? I mean, really stuck? Well, I was. I was so stuck. And what I realized is that there are times when you're so stuck, you don't even know you're stuck. It took my mother telling me that I was in a pattern that was harming me for me to finally get willing to do something about it. And it was actually the thing that changed my life. I'll tell you what happened. I continued to take jobs throughout my life that I didn't like, that didn't work for me, that were not me, but I was trying to please other people. Ever done that? I sure have, obviously. And so I kept doing that because it was the focus of the money, accomplishing something, feeling successful. All of that started to occur at times, but it never ever continued, and I would always be upset and unhappy, but then I would just find something else. So I was going to take another job that wasn't for me. People were not going to be kind to me. People were going to be probably fairly abusive and just use my skills and talent and not really be supportive of me or see me. And my mother, she's about 86 years old at the time, she said, "If you take that job, I'm going to kick your butt. That's not a good place for you." And we needed the money. We had 3 little kids, and we needed to do something. I had left my law practice. I couldn't raise my children, I didn't feel, effectively, and do my law. So I came home, and I needed this job. At the same time she said that to me, she found an article on coaching, and she said, "This is what you can do. You have a degree in psychology, your legal degree will help you, and you can do this. This is a way to help people, and this is a way for you to do something worthwhile that is good for you too." Well, I read that article and I thought, if those people are for real, I want to play with those people. They're good folks and they're doing something worthwhile in the world. So I told my husband I'm not taking the job and I'm going to go spend money on coaching instead. Good husband. He said, "Okay, go for it." And I found a way that I could take my experience of being so stuck and so unaware of it and learn how to help other people. So in my work, I've learned that this is, the key to all of this is your belief system. The thing that keeps you stuck are the stories you tell yourself. And we tell ourselves stories, and they're made up, but we start to believe them. And then we start to try to prove they're true. And so we create events and call events to us that demonstrate their truth. Let me tell you about a guy named Dave. He's one of my most wonderful star clients. Dave had $1 million plus career going, $1 million plus per year. He was traveling all over the world. He was highly respected, 33 years in business, and he had built this wonderful organization. And then on a weekend, Dave climbed up on a roof, on a ladder, to a roof to help his friend, and he fell 2 stories. And Dave almost died. He had really close to deadly injuries. He broke his arm, he broke his pelvis, he broke his leg, and it took him over a year to recover. But here's the great and hard part of this story. That wasn't the worst of it. Once Dave had brought himself back physically, started to go back into his career, he started to realize he'd built a prison for himself. He hated it. All of those years he was delivering the same material, doing the same thing, and he became depressed, had to pay the bills, and couldn't see a way out. Thought of himself as a Hollywood has-been, and he couldn't do it anymore. So through our work, what we realized is he thought of himself this way, and he was stuck. We began exploring what his beliefs were, why he believed what he did, and out of that came a new realization that, oh, I'm the one who thinks of myself that way. With just little adjustments just little shifts in his focus and his beliefs, he found that those 33 years of experience set him up to be a fabulous teacher, a fabulous mentor, that he had a wealth of information that was available to other people. And now he is excited about delivering that information, and really nothing major changed outside him. It all changed within him. And when that happened, Dave had a new life. Suddenly the phone starts ringing, he starts working with new clients, he develops teaching programs, he's traveling to Malaysia, he's traveling to Paris. I'm like, Dave, don't you need me to help you there? I want to go to Paris. But he felt he could do it on his own. It was fabulous. And this is a man who has changed his life through changing his mind. I have another client, and his name, we'll call him Tom. Tom is the third generation in a family who has a huge manufacturing company in the East. He wanted to go off and do different things in his career and get an education in different subjects, and his father said, no, you will get a degree in business, and you will come in as the third generation and run this organization. That is your job. He said, okay, I'll do that. But he really thought that if he did that, his father would start approving of him, acknowledging his importance, and that didn't happen. Not only did his father not acknowledge any of his accomplishments, his father would not cede any control and was judgmental and nasty about his contributions. What we found through working together was he was stuck on the idea that if his father didn't approve of him, he couldn't change his beliefs about his worth. Dad was the key. And if Dad didn't find him worthy, he wasn't worthy. When we unstuck that belief, he got willing to see that he was the source of his belief around worthiness or not. All of a sudden, you know what happens? The world changes. Suddenly, Dad's relationship with him changes, and he acts very surprised. I'm going, you see, this is what Gandhi said. If you want to change the world, change yourself. You just proved that. You stood up, started treating your father with greater respect. You stood up, started being worthwhile, whether your father thought of you that way or not. You began showing up that way. You began stepping into the role of president of this organization and showing him and the organization what you could do. And that's when you grew up and started being the man you really knew you could be. I have another client, and I think if you're a woman, you know this one. Her name's, we'll call her Helen. Helen believed the only way to be worthwhile was to be in service to everyone else. She had no permission to have her own life. Serving everyone else, the head of a big nonprofit organization, and the sole support of herself and her husband. He kept saying he was going to get a job. He kept sort of looking for a job. She had to keep churning in the money and bringing in the dough and serving her parents who were elderly, difficult siblings who needed her help. Anyone sound, does that sound familiar to any of you? Yeah, well, sounds familiar to me. And she just overextended, no permission to take care of herself whatsoever. She finally developed an autoimmune disease. This isn't a surprise to anyone but Helen, and it was a very serious disease. Through our work together, she started to realize that she was stuck on the idea that she did not have worth if she wasn't giving everything away to other people. We changed that belief. She changed her mind about that, began asserting herself as being perhaps important enough to be in her own life. Perhaps she could give herself a little bit of her time, started making decisions where she was saying yes to things that served her, and finally said, "Husband, dear, you need to get a job." He went and got the job. She quit the CEO job, found herself a job that serves her and her health, and Helen is in remission, and she is in her life. The point is, if you are in that place, and we all have that somewhere in our lives, some facet of our lives, where we're in the place where the world looks like walls. Everywhere you turn, there's a wall. When you're there, that's the time to make a call. Because I believe people need help to be marched out of those places, to be walked out of there. They need a companion to help them, because you can't see what you can't see. You don't know what you don't know. And we don't need to get to that place where we're so resigned that we believe that's all that's available. That's hopeless. And I'm voting that that's not a great place to live your life. So I'm excited and honored that people call me, they invite me along on their journey, and they get to go to these brand new, wonderful places. And what they do is they turn from resignation to possibility. And that is a fabulous turn in the journey. And that's when people can start really feeling alive and ready to rock and roll. And they get to have a new possibility in their lives.